Hey fifth graders, we're going to take a look at one last method to subtract mixed numbers. This is kind of the safety net method that will work no matter what, whether you have to regroup or not. And this is an alternative to the regrouping method. However, what we're going to see is that this method, which we're going to go ahead and turn our mixed numbers into improper fractions, a skill you already have, what you're going to notice is that sometimes, while this works all the time, sometimes it can be a pain to do it because you get some really big numerators when you're dealing with your improper fractions, and then you have to turn your improper fractions back into mixed numbers. So it's actually more steps, but they're definitely doable steps. So let's go ahead and see what I'm talking about. We can use improper fractions to subtract mixed numbers. Remember, to turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, we're going to use our times e plus e skills. So we're going to use our times e plus e skills, and what we do is we multiply. So that's the times e part. We're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number, and we're going to add that to the numerator. Okay, really important words there, and that's the plus e part. And you keep your denominator the same. If you have unlike fractions, as always, with unlike fractions, you need to make sure that you create common denominators. And we're actually going to take a look. I probably shouldn't have said first step, because you can actually turn it into an improper fraction first, then do common denominators, or you can do the common denominators first, then turn to improper fractions. So you have an option there, and we're going to look at how we get the same answer no matter what. So again, this is an alternative. We can use this instead of regrouping. So if you're not a regrouping fan, this is an option for you. However, again, I want to warn you, it can give you some big numbers and can be more steps in the long run. But let's see how this works. So we're going to go ahead and turn this into improper fractions first. Then we'll create our common denominator. So I have 5 1/8 minus 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and use my times e plus e skills here. And 8 times 5 is 40, plus 1 is 41/8. And then down here I've got 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15/4. The next thing I need to do is create common denominators, because I don't have them at the moment. So I have 41/8 times, I'm going to set up fraction flags, and this is 15/4 times blank equals blank. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and 8 would be our lowest common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by 2/2, and that gives me 30/8. This by 1/1, that gives me 41/8, and then we will subtract, because now we have our common denominators. 41 minus 30 is 11/8, okay? And I'm sliding it over here because my last step is that I need to turn that into a mixed number. So 8 goes into 11 one whole time, and there is 3/8 remaining, and that is our answer. So when you use improper fraction route, there's no need for regrouping. So it is a very nice option for some of you who don't love the regrouping method. I'm still a fan of the regrouping method, however. All right, let's take a look at the same example, but doing it in a different order. Let's create those common denominators first. So I've got 1/8 and 3/4 times blank equals blank. So that's going to be 1/1 gives us 1/8. So it's still going to be 5 1/8. And then this is going to be times 2/2 gets us 6/8. So this is really, I'm going to rewrite, sorry, and I guess I didn't give you guys enough space. So this is 5 1/8, and this is 3 6/8. And now we're going to use our times e plus e skills, and that's equivalent to, again, 41/8. And now when I use my times e plus e skills, that's going to be 24 plus 6 is 30/8. So as you can see, no matter what order you do this in, you will end up with the same fractions that you're dealing with. You subtract, and you get 11/8, which is equivalent to 1 3/8. So we get the same answer no matter what order we decide to tackle this in. Let's do a few more examples together. So you have 9 1/3 minus 7 3/5. So I'm going to go ahead and stack these up vertically. I'll go ahead and I'm going to turn it into improper fractions first, and then I'll create my common denominator. So times E plus E skills here. So that's 27 plus 1 is 28 thirds minus 35, 36, 37, 38 fifths. We're going to create common denominators. And we get, let's see, 15ths would be our lowest common denominator. I need to multiply this by 3 over 3. I need to multiply this by 5 over 5. Now, as you can see, this is where this is what I mean by you're dealing with some big numbers. Not impossible. We can totally do it, but it is definitely more mental work and more scratch work. So we need to do 28 times 5, 0, carry the 4. 10 plus 4 is 14, so that's 140 15ths. 38 times 3, that's 24, carry the 2, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11, minus 114 15ths. Now I need to subtract those two values. So I've got 140 minus 114. I'm going to go ahead and regroup here. 10 minus 4 is 6, 3 minus 1 is 2, 1 minus 1 is 0. So this gives me 26 15ths. And my last step is to turn this into a mixed number. 15 goes into 26 one whole time, and there is a difference of 11. So our final answer would be 1 and 11 15ths. So as you can see, this actually results in more computations. I like the regrouping method of just bringing over, a set of 3/3, creating common denominators, bringing over a set of 15 15ths. It keeps your numbers smaller. But again, this is definitely a method that absolutely works. So let's look at another example. 14 and 1/6 minus 11 and 3/4. This time I'll continue turning it into an improper fraction first with my times E plus E skills. That's going to be 44 plus 3 is 47 quarters. And this is 60 plus 24 is 84 plus 1 is 85 sixths. Now, if you couldn't multiply that mentally like I did, you can totally set it up on the side for the multiplication. Now I need common denominators, so let's go ahead and set up blank fraction flag. Sixths and fourths, my lowest common denominator would be 12. So I'm multiplying this by 3 over 3 and this by 2 over 2. Let me slide this over. So 85 times 2, that's 16 plus 1 is 70. 170 twelfths, and 47 times 3, that's 21. 12 plus 2 is 141. 141. I need to subtract those two. 170 minus 141 is a difference of 29. So my answer is 29 twelfths. But my last step is I need to turn that into a mixed number. 12 goes into 29 two times. That gets me to 24. And there's a difference of 5 between 24 and 29. So my final answer would be 2 and 5 no, not 29ths, gosh. Oh, goodness. That is equal to, sorry, 2 and 5 twelfths. Wrong denominator. I apologize. I wrote 29ths. It's twelfths. I was looking at that numerator. So again, just to recap, what you do is you turn it into an improper fraction. The downfall, in my opinion, is that you end up having big numbers. But guess what? You can handle it. You know how to do multi-digit multiplication. You know how to add and subtract big numbers, so no big deal. But I do believe this ends up being more work in the long run than our regrouping method. But guess what? This will get you the right answer. So if this is the method that you prefer, then totally go for it.